Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to this channel, kindly please subscribe and hit that button to always get my updates. In this short tutorial, I'll talk about Vpython, how you can plot normal 2D graphs using Vpython. I have made also some tutorials on how to create 3D objects using Vpython. If you haven't watched those tutorials, please go ahead and in the links below. So what we are going to do is to begin by first of all importing Vpython, and I'll import each and everything within Vpython since it's the only package or library that I'm going to be using in my working space. Okay, so I'll say from Vpython import star, and this means I'm importing each and every function within Vpython. So Vpython uses what we call a graph to first of all create kind of like a display on which you want your plots to go. So I'm going to say graph, and I'm going to call this one graph functions. Okay, this is given by a function which is graph that creates that domain. Okay, and so I need to specify my width of that domain, and this is going to be, let's say 1000 pixels, and then let's say height is going to be equal to 500. Okay, this is up to you. And then I need to specify the title as well on that chart. Okay, so this is going to be a plot of cosine of x and sine of x, right? Just like that to keep it simple. Then I need also to specify the x titles. So in other languages or when we're using Python, you can call that one as x label, but here you can call it x title, and this is equal to just you can call it x. Okay, and then when we can use y title, and you call this one, which is a string, as just y, or just y, or just radians. Let's call it let's say radians, and the rest you can specify whatever you want, like the background color and so on. You can specify it under this. So I need also to go down here, since I'm going to deal with two plots, cosine and sine. I can specify the type of the drawing on each of them. For example, for graph which I'm going to call cos, okay, cos, I want this to be made of just dots, so I'm using the dots function, dots. Okay, and this is going to be, I can specify the size, the thickness of those dots. I can specify the color, but I'm just going to specify the color, which is going to be color dot red. All right, so then we need also for sine. Let's say this is going to be for sine. Okay, so that's going to be curve. Sorry, yeah, a curve, just not dots but curve, solid curve. So this is going to be curve, and you can specify the color again to be color dot blue. All right, so when we are done with this, now we can proceed to see what are we going to plot. We are going to plot some points of x in a given range, and then for the respective two functions for cosine and sine. So the first part was to tell the program where do we want to make a plot, and then what type of plots do we need to use. So I'm going to say for x, I'm going to use the arrange function, arrange starting from 0 to maybe as far as 15, but in intervals of 0.1. Okay, so we have our for loop, and we are going to use y to represent the cosine of just x. I'm going to keep it as x, but as well you can convert that to radians if this is taken to be as an angle. Then you can have as well z, which is equal to sine of just x, just to keep it simple. So now our functions are well defined, so I can go ahead and now apply the plot command on each of these, the types of each of the curve I want. So I'm going to call the geckos. Geckos I know is going to be of dots. Okay, so that's the type of that is going to apply on the cosine function. Geckos plot, and then I need to specify the position or the points that we are going to plot in terms of the dots. So that's going to be x and y, which is the cosine function. And then finally I can apply sign, which is going to be dot plot, which is going to be a sine function. And again I need to specify a position given by now the coordinates of x and z. Alright, so when we do this, we don't need to use anything like show. We are just going to run this, and then it will stop for a while and then do the plot. Okay, so sometimes for Vpython you need to reset the kernel. So I'm going to first of all reset the kernel, and when it's ready then I will run it again. Okay, so now it says ready. I will run this one and run this one, and let's see what happens. So what happens are these two nice and beautiful two graphs, whereby the red, which we specified above here, is the cosine, and then the blue is the sine. We can go further to put on the legend, and we can specify the graphs, the two graphs more clearly. But as you can see, we have the plot, we have the y label, we have the x label, and so on. So we can as well animate our graph, and to do that what we all need to do is to simply add in the rate function just below the for loop, and we are going then to say to give it a certain rate on which it plots those points, so that it doesn't plot the whole thing at once. And so I'm going to use the rate function right here, and keep it maybe at a rate of say 50. We can change this one depending on the speed at which it plots these points. So when I do that, still remember you have to reset the kernel in order for the Vpython to work properly. So when it says ready, then you are free to run the whole thing. And so let's see what we have. So as you can see, it shows us how it is plotting point by point until it finishes all the points. You can increase the rate so that it runs a little bit more faster, and this is what we have. So furthermore, you can choose to save this plot or this animation and have it either in an MP4 or any other format as a small video or animation. So from this gives us a short introduction on how we can use Vpython to plot different graphs, 2D graphs. For further tutorials in Vpython, please look at my links below and see how we can create 3D objects.